Hey folks, I'm Keith.
I'm Alana.
And this is Wine School
Debrief.
We are debriefing, and again, I'm not teaching a wine class. Again, I'm doing gin.
Yes.
And I'm not just doing a gin class, a gin tasting.
Right.
I'm making...
You're making gin.
Gin, a custom-made gin, right there in front of everybody.
So cool.
Oh, and it was a delicious gin. It was very forward with not so much juniper, but a whole lot of cinnamon. It was super delicious. It was really tasty.
You're kind of good at making things. I don't know if anybody's ever told you.
Oh,
It usually comes out pretty well.
It comes out pretty well,
It usually does.
See, people may wonder why I'm so happy.
There you go.
It is because I do tend to eat and drink what I make.
So folks, you want to pay attention.
Yeah.
The whole way through, he's making gin. And if you enjoy this, please do take a moment, either now or at the very end, to like and subscribe.
Absolutely, because that way you're sure to get more of our content like this. All right.
Sweet.
Let's watch this.
It's actually been the icon of every single mass die-off of humanity ever.
What you're smelling.
What you're smelling is that last line of that.
All right, I did it again. All right, I did it again. I
wasn't even expecting that one. That came out of nowhere.
How is
Mass die-off of humanity.
How
This
is
how
it?
you start.
how many of my classes start off with a point in time where everyone dies and then everyone is saved by whatever it is I'm talking about? Oh my God. Yeah.
I love it. Oh my God. Okay. Let's go back in.
Up until around the 20th century was actually this hallmark of the only thing that can save you from every single plague that we've hit up until the 20th century. So yeah, welcome to a little dark, right? Hello, guess what? So juniper, the Romans used it. Juniper garlands, right? You'll actually see it as actually the one way to clarify, to save you from the worst of disease. Now, mind you, it didn't work, right? Right? So juniper, right? Juniper, right? All right. What you see here is...
Keith, were those juniper berries that you just
Yes.
put in? Okay, just want to make sure.
Like cup and a half. I'm starting to build out. So if you've ever seen my classes of spirits classes, I'm usually distilling. Whiskey, tequila. I'm actually rum. I'm making the thing, and right now I'm actually off screen is my still, and I'm filling it up right now with all the spices and herbs I'm going to use to make this gin.
Very cool.
I am going to distill gin as we're sitting here in class. So by the time we're done, we will have distilled gin. Okay? Is this cinnamon? No. This is cassia, which is actually low rent. So this is what they sell as cinnamon, but it's actually truly not. It's actually low rent. It's Bobo. It's Bobo cinnamon. But
Bobo cinnamon.
Yeah, hey. I'm cool. I'm here. I can talk.
Oh my God.
it is actually one of the core flavors, along with cardamom. Does anyone know does anyone know what it is, by the way? Even know what gin is, right? Because right now, right, every single thing that you've smelled is actually gin. That's the core, the baseline of gin. Gin is a juniper-based infusion that is actually then distilled with grain alcohol. Now typically I would distill it myself, but on a little unit like this, I'm using Everclear. Right. So herbs, spices, Now, does anyone? So, what does anyone know? What does 151 proof mean? Does anyone know? What's the percentage of alcohol? No. What's the percentage of alcohol?
Math.
Math, I know, yeah.
Math strikes.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool. I couldn't answer it on the top of my head either.
Around 75%, right? Because proof is in fact simply just. Now, what is the actual average alcohol content of gin or any distilled spirit that you buy into?
40.
Right, 40% typically, right? Very simple thing. Does anyone understand distillation? Right? It's the thing that you don't understand, right? It's the thing that nobody understands. Because that grain of alcohol was already distilled, and I'm distilling it again. So, we distill something. We start with something. No, is there water? Yes, Mike. No, I think we're guesses there. We're figure out. All right.
So you may notice I am moving around very fast, and I don't know if this will remain in the final, but I'm talking like a chipmunk. I have talked so many times about distillation, and so I mean, you can watch any of our other wine school debriefs where I'm talking about spirits, and I go into this. So you don't need to hear this again, or so. That's what's going on here. I didn't want to bore you.
What happens when you boil water? What happens? It evaporates, right? Every question, right? Exactly, right? It's a very simple answer, right? Okay. So you heat, it evaporates out. Now, what happens? What happens to the water? Where's it going? Pick a finger, and then what happens? Where does it end up? Well, it ends up being like all that water on the back of your kitchen, right? It's shooting to the cool surface, it becomes water again. That's distillation. That's distillation right there. Separating something from a liquid turning to gas and in another environment making it a liquid again. This is distillation.
How crazy is it? I'm so acclimated to your Boston accent. I can actually understand some of that. You talk so fast normally. I can actually understand some of that.
Even at double speed. Oh, that's not good. Oh, God, okay. Oh, all right. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Because I want to ask you, think about this for a second. Why is this, we're talking about water, why does this work to make actually booze, right? This is 7th century North African Arab technology at play that actually turned all of Europe into a booze house, all right? So I'm going to think about that for a second. I'm going to collect everyone's registration forms. Juniper berries, since the Romans, right? So Southern Roman Catholic priests actually were making something with wine and juniper berries distilled in the 8th to 9th centuries. Now, by the 14th, 15th century, the Dutch. Now, is anyone here Dutch? Because I'm going to talk some smack about the Dutch. So the Dutch, right? They were the major, East India Trading Company. They were the major throughout the Atlantic, throughout the Pacific. They dominated. And what they dominated, right, was mostly a lot of things, a lot of dark shit, but also the spice routes. They dominated the spice routes. And so they actually, when they had all of this, they had Madagascar vanilla. They had, from India, they were actually pulling in all of the real.
Sorry, so the Dutch, because of their trade routes,
Yes.
that's how they had these spices.
That's how they acquired all the spices. And it was never a pretty thing, because they really, their history of that is very dark.
Yeah.
And you can hear me, I was trying to talk around all of it because I didn't want to get people.
Understand. Yeah.
I'll talk about genocide, but that's only in the beginning of class. I don't want to make people sad and uncomfortable in the middle of class. So I was talking around it, but yes.
But
that's why.
But they had the spices.
They had them.
That was how this came about.
Exactly.
Okay. That is
but it all starts with the juniper berry, which is the icon of health and holiness from the late Roman Empire onwards. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Black peppercorns, right? Does anyone here speak Dutch? Of course not, right? No one speaks Dutch, except for the Dutch. Genever. And genever is the original gin. Gin is a bastardization of this term genever, meaning juniper. The very first gins, right, the original gins are called genever. They're still produced today. You'll notice actually that they oftentimes are, instead of being perfectly clear, they tend to have a little bit of patina of gold. Is that whenever you have something in front of you, right, with these, right, the idea is first off, is just to stick your nose in it, because only alcoholics just drink booze, right? Just like, yeah, boom, or, right? Because the first thing you want to know, right, does anyone know how sense of taste and sense of smell, 80% of smell and taste. Well, 80% of taste is actually smell. So just give it and stick your nose in it. So do you, the question is, so you right?
Some of these people were pre-gaming.
Yes.
Some of them were not waiting to smell.
No,
clearly.
I know. That's what I was trying to say to them. Like, stop.
What that smell is? That smell is juniper, right? Juniper. Now, give it a taste. And when you taste it, now, what you want to do is you want to taste it, and you want to sip, you want to let it sit on your tongue just for a second, and not. One reason why I pour small first is because you actually want to get used to actually taking a very tiny sip, because if you take too much, it's going to taste like shit. Now, so yeah. Now, right, intense, right? Intense. So, I want you to point out, like, notice how that it's a little, do you notice how it's a little oily? Notice that oily content? Notice it almost tastes sweet to you? The first is the hit. Now, if you take a small enough sip, what you end up getting is a little bit of intensity.
Right.
But then you also get vanilla, nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom.
Well, there you go. Cool.
There it is. Yes. How to make, yeah.
And genever was...
Genever is the first gin, and taking people through that first tasting is always hard because genever is rough.
Okay.
Like, you're tasting history,
Yeah.
and in how it's distilled, which is really rough, and you can taste it. It doesn't. It's not nearly as clean as modern gin. It's not even close.
Okay.
Because this class, we actually take them through all the different styles, and this is the beginning style.
Got you. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why I did want people to try it beforehand, because when something's challenging, if you just go in and you're going to be shocked.
Yeah.
That's like that's like walking in onto your walking in on somebody changing their underwear. It's like, what?
All right, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Shocking.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Folks, it's great having you.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time.
Ciao.